Hey, welcome ladies and gentlemen to this tutorial. In this one, I'm going to show you how to upload multiple files to a server and then show progress for each individual file with an abort button as well. So let me show you what I mean here. If I upload some really large files so that it takes its time, I'll upload 4 files at the same time, and you can see I can click this one finishes, and I can click abort on this one or this one as well. So very flexible stuff, but obviously this is not a design tutorial, so this looks terrible, but it's just there to highlight how to actually write the code. Then you can redesign this into whatever you want. Okay, so let's begin. I'm assuming that you've already installed your server and it's running. If you haven't, download XAMPP, install it, and then open its control panel, and then make sure that Apache is running. So that's the only thing we need for now, that's Apache. So click start on this to make sure it's running. Okay, once that happens, we can now go to C, XAMPP, htdocs, that's where all my websites are, and I've created a folder in here called multi-upload. That's where I'll put my file. And from here, I'm just going to drag and drop this folder into my text editor like this. So I can right click now, create a new file, and hit save. So this will be the index.html file that will be the uploading file. And then we need a file to receive the uploaded files on the server. So this one, we're going to call it api.php, like that. So what we'll do is we'll see how to upload one file and then change that to upgrade it to multiple files. Okay, so once we have this, let's create the HTML that we need to actually start this process. If I open my folder, I can now drag and drop this file into my browser. Now, if you can't drag and drop, just press Alt F and say open file and open that file from there. Now let's replace everything before the multi-uploader folder with the word localhost like this. So it should be excuse me, localhost multi-uploader / index.html. That way we are running our file through a local server. Okay, good, because that's required. Now let's add some HTML here, and I'll just put a title of upload, and then in the body here I just want to put just one style to change the font type, that's all. So I'm just going to say body and say font family Tahoma. Okay, great. So coming down here, we will now create an upload button. So this one is an input of type file. Okay, the name can be images like that. Okay, good. Or can be files. Let's just call it, or maybe we're going to be uploading videos. Doesn't matter, you can name it anything. Now we want it to be able to upload multiple files, so we'll put the word multiple there like so. Okay, so with this we have a file uploader, which I should be able to see once I refresh my page, and there it is. So if I click upload, once this item changes, I want it to trigger something. So we'll say on change and then say upload. So we're going to create an upload function here, and then we're going to supply all the files that this one contains. So we'll say this dot files. Now since we're just going to upload one file, I'll just select the very first file. So this represents this item, and then it has a files attribute, which is an array, so we're just getting the first item in that list. So now that we have that, we can create some scripts, a script tag, sorry, to run our JavaScript to create this function that we've just told it to run, because it can't run it if it does not exist. Here we're expecting a single file, so we'll say file there. Now for now, what I want to do is just alert to say uploaded, like that. So it's not really going to upload, it's just going to show us that things are running as intended. So if I refresh, browse, and then look for a file, so I want just a very simple text file somewhere. Okay, so now that I get this, it means things have worked. The function has been run, this function. But let's create an Ajax request to this API file there. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to say var, we're going to call it Ajax and say is equal to a new XML HTTP request, like that. Okay, so once we run that request, all we have to do is say ajax.open, we open it, and then we can say ajax.send to send the data. It's as simple as that. But we also need to listen for when everything is complete. So I'm just going to add 2 event listeners. That's how you add an event listener, like that. Ajax.add event. So we add the event before we open and send it. So I'll add 2 event listeners. Now an event listener will listen for a specific event. In this case, we want to listen for the ready state change. So ready state change, and then here we're going to listen for progress. And then you have to give it a function that will run once that event is hit, like that. Okay. Now we need the event object as well. That's very crucial. So let's put an E to capture that event object, like so. Okay, so when the ready state changes to 4 times during the process of this process. When the Ajax is open, that's a different state. When we send, that's a different state. And then when everything is complete, that's state number 4. So here we just want to listen for state number 4. So we're going to say, we'll put an if statement and say if Ajax dot ready state, the same ready state, now capitalized there because this is a JavaScript object. So ajax.readyState is equal to 4. It means everything is complete. Okay, because it only becomes number 4 once everything is done. So we're checking for that ready state there. And then if everything went well, it's going to have a status of 200, which means it found the file that we sent it to. If it didn't, it's going to cause an error. So you can put another if statement here and say if ajax.status is equal to 200, then it means we can put an alert and say, why did I upload complete, like that. Okay, now if it completes but the status is not 200, you can put an else statement here. You can just put an else statement here. If it's not 200, maybe it's another response, then you can alert yourself to something else. But we're just interested in when everything goes well in this case. This is how you listen to a response. So you can do something here, which means the upload is done. Now here we're listening for the progress. Now the Ajax object itself has an upload object. So we'll do upload dot like this. So inside the Ajax, there's an upload object, which we're adding the event listener to of progress, so we can check how the progress is going. So we need to calculate a percentage. So I'm just going to say let percent is going to be equal to, now this event object here, the E that we are capturing here has 2 items. There is e.loaded, which is how many bits of data have been loaded, and then there's e.total, which is the total number of bits or bytes for that item that we are sending. And then if we multiply this by 100, we can get a percentage, right? But it will have a lot of decimal places. So let's do math.round like this. So this will always show the percentage. Now on the progress fires many times a second. So you're going to have this function run several times in a second just to check on the progress. This only runs in a while. Once everything is complete, that's when this section will run. This one runs continuously every time this function is being called several times. So we can use this value to create an object that shows us progress. So, but let's ignore that for now. Here, when we open, we have to tell it what method we are using. We are using the post method, and we want to tell it what file we are accessing. Now, you could access this very same file. If you want to do that, then you can leave this empty like this, which means you access the very file that you are on. And then let's put true here to tell it to do this in the background so the UI doesn't freeze while this is happening. Okay, and then send here, we just need to send what we have captured from the input, which is this file. Now unfortunately we can't just send file here. We have to make sure that it reaches the PHP side just like a normal post does. So to do that, let's create a form. So we say var form is equal to new form data like that. Okay, so new form data, and then we can append to it this file. So I'm just going to say form is dot append. So we're adding to that, and then we can give it a name. So here we're just going to call it file like that, and then put the file itself there like so. So if you're sending other information, you can also append it. Maybe you want to send a username at the same time as you are sending a file. You can do that. Just send John there. So both of these will be received. This will be received in the post variable. This is going to be received in the files variable on the PHP side. So keep in mind that files are received in the files variable, which is like this. And then any text is received in the post variable like so. Okay, so we're not sending any of that, so let's remove it. All right, so we've appended that, and finally we are sending the form. So we open it and send the form. Okay, cool. So I just want to see that there are no errors once we run this. So let's test this and see. Now on the here, if we want to see what, I can do two alerts here. One will show us the result. So I'll say Ajax dot response text. So any echo that we do here will be shown there. So let me just put some PHP tags there so that you see that we can just echo something and hello world like that. So whatever we echo here or any errors that we get will be sent back as a response. So get the response, and then I think I'll remove the upload complete. Let's just get the hello world there. So let's see if things are going to work. So I'm going to refresh, browse, and let me load this. And then we get hello world, which means we got a response from this API file, which is right here. Now, instead of echoing this, I just want to see what's inside the files variable here. So I'll say print readable files like that. That way you see what is sent to the other side. So this is what is sent here. There's a file thingy there, and then it tells you the name of the file, the full path, and then this is where it is sent, the temp name. Also, it tells you if there are any errors. If this number is greater than 0, then there's an error, and it shows you the size of the file in bytes. So you can use this to reject files that are too big. You can use this to check for errors. And then this is a type. You can also use this to reject certain file types. So image JPEG, text plain. So if you don't know the type of that image or the type of the file, just echo it like this and it will show you what type of file it is. So for example, if I load in an image instead, right, or an executable file, I don't even know where to get my images. There we go. So this is a JPEG. You see it will tell me it's image JPEG. So you can use this to go through and check. So to move the file that we want to upload here, we'll just use the function move uploaded file. Oops. Like that. Okay, so we get the file name, and the file name is inside files. If you remember very well, it's inside files, file. That's what it said here when we checked it out. There was an array called file, and then in there was the temp name. So the temp name is where it originally was. Then the destination, we'll just put it right there, not inside any folders or anything. Now if you want to create a folder, you can just say folder is equal to, let's say, uploads, like that, and then just make sure that the folder exists here. So let me right click and then say new folder and say uploads, so that we have that, and then we can send the file in there. So here we just say folder and then concatenate the file. So remember there's a slash already here, so that should work. Oh, here it's name, not temp name, just the name of the file. This is all you need to upload a file. So I'll remove this for now, and that's all you need to do. So we should see a file in that folder. So let me try and upload this time. So grab that, let's upload that JPEG file. Okay, so it showed us an empty string because we're not echoing anything, but as you can see, there's a file in that folder now. So that's how easy it is to upload. Now we want to see some progress here. So I'm going to create a div and then put another div inside it. This div, I'm going to say, let's put some styles here. First of all, I'll say border, solid, thin, and let me put black like that. Okay, so that it has a border around it. And then let me do a height. This height will be, let's say, 20, even just 10 pixels. That should be good enough. Let's add some styles on this one as well. Let me put a background color of light blue, like so. And then let me put the width at 20%, just so I can see what's going on, right? Then let me put a margin, I guess, 10 pixels. Alrighty then, let's see this. So I refresh, and this is what I get. So I want to see progress bar in here. Actually, the height should just be on this one, like so. Okay. So that's progress right there. So I want it brighter. So let me just put blue, should be enough, like so. Let's see that. Okay, so some progress. Let me put a width, a fixed width here of 600 pixels. That way it doesn't go all the way to the end. Okay, so once we have progress, we should see that move. Then let's put also, since we can see that already, let me put some text in here, maybe 0%, and then color white. All right. So what I want is just to change the width of this to show us progress, right? Now I just need a way to grab this item. So I'll put a class name here or an ID. It doesn't matter what you use. Let's just say I'll call it prog, like that. Okay. So what I'll do is inside here, I'm going to say let prog is equal to document. So let's grab it from the document dot query selector. We put a pound because it's the ID we're looking for. We are looking for an item with an ID of prog, like that. And then once we calculate the percentage, then we can set prog dot inner HTML, which is the text inside it, to let's put a percent there, to percent the number, and then let's add that percent there. Not only that, we want to change its style. So we'll say dot style dot width is equal to percent and that. Okay, so great. So let's see that in progress. So if I refresh, it starts at 0. There's a number there, which is way too big, I guess. Why it's that big, I do not know. Let me put text align center here. Let's just say text align center. I should have added styles, I guess. Let me just do this. Let's use a class instead. So use a class of prog, and then here put another class of prog bar. Then I can just put styles here. So prog, and grab these styles in here, put them there, and then let's just duplicate this and set this to prog bar, like that, and then put these styles in here instead, like that. Okay, so much better, so that we have space here, like so. It's easier to see. Okay, so now we've changed it to a class, so even when searching for it, we have to look for a class. .prog, there we go. Alrighty then. Now let's try this. Okay, so it says 100%, but I don't see the blue thing, so what's going on? .width is equal to percent plus that. This should be pretty standard, but what's going on, I do not know. Oh, because we've set that, I think because we've set it there, have we? Let me remove that. What is going on here? Style width. Oh, okay, so that's my problem. That's not the problem there. It's the prog bar that we are supposed to be moving around. So I want prog bar instead. Okay, sorry about that. The one that's inside. So browse, let's try again. And there we go. So we get 100%. Why is the height so weird? Let me try font size here. Let's reduce it to 12 pixels. Let me see if that helps. Not enough, apparently. Let's put height 15 pixels maybe. Anyway, you can style these things as you wish. Styling is not a big deal here. And there you go. Okay, so at least we are seeing a progress. Now I want us to see, I want to use bigger files so you can see this one in slow motion. So I'm going to do that. And there we go. Okay, so there are warning here which says the content length exceeds the limit of this in bytes. Okay, so what this is saying is that I have reached the limit of my what is set in PHP that I can upload. Okay, so this file is rather too big, maybe it's 2 GB. So what you can do in that case is in your Apache, in your XAMPP control panel, you can click config and get the phpMyAdmin file. Now this file is inside your XAMPP folder, so just find it there in case you can't click that button. And then let's look for max upload. I think it's upload max. Okay, so maybe that's not it. Maybe it's max upload. Wait. Okay, so let's just search for upload here. Right, let's go up. Let's try upload max. I don't remember the names. Okay, there we go. So you see there's upload max file size. So change this to maybe 4,000 megabytes, which is 4 GB, depending on the amount of data you want to be uploading. And don't make it too big though. Excuse me. So it depends if your site, excuse me, sorry. Just think of the biggest file that somebody can upload on your system. If there are videos, if there are images, for example, there's no need to put it so big if you're just uploading images, right? So put the minimum you can work with. So in this case, it's just that the files are quite big, so I'm putting 4 GB. Then max file uploads, how many files you can upload at the same time. So maybe 20 here is the limit. Okay, there's also post max, I think. Let's try and find it. There's post max size. So this is how much the post data can be. So that one also must be good enough to accommodate your files. So with that in mind, you save this file and then restart your server. So just stop it and click start again. Okay, so that has to be green. Let's try this again to see if it's going to complain about that. So there's the file. That's quite it's taking longer than usual because I think now it's actually uploading. Then it was simply rejected. So here it's actually uploading. You see that? Okay, so no errors this time. So that's how you deal with those errors. So if I now check on my in my folder, in the uploads folder, you'll see that there are these files that I'm uploading here. Okay, so that's how you upload one file at a time. But what if we want to upload many at the same time? So how are we going to do that? So let's shift our code to upload many and show a progress bar for each one of them. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is redesign this because I want a cancel button as well here. Now before we go any further, let's add a cancel button here in the first place. So here after this, I want to put this in another div like so. Okay, and then let me add some styles for this div in particular. This one I'm going to say background color. Let me add EEE like so, and then let me add some padding, 10 pixels. And what else do I need? I need a maximum width. So width of this prog bar inside should just be 100%. So I'll copy this width here and put it on the parent instead. Then here I'll put this one at 100% like that. Okay, so width, padding, how does this look? Let's see that. And there it is. Now, in the body here, I want to say box sizing to border box so that I don't have this problem of this exceeding its limit. Oops, that didn't work. So let's change it to just do it on individual items like that. Okay, every item in here still didn't do the trick. Wait, width 100. Anyway, you can style these things as you wish. Let me just put it maybe at 90%. Let's see that. Yeah, maybe 95. Okay, let me not dwell on that. Let's come down here. I just want a button to abort. Now this abort button, on click here, I want it to do an abort. So we'll write a function called cancel. Let's just call it cancel. Okay, and go down here. Here's the function. The function is cancel. In order to cancel, we just grab the ajax.abort. That's all. It's as simple as that. Now this Ajax thingy is inside here. So when I click abort, it won't actually know. It won't know what Ajax is unless I put this Ajax object outside here. So I can do that actually. So grab this and put it there like so. Make it outside. That way I can refer to it here. All right. So let's try this out. Refresh. There's an abort button. Let's try this. So as it is uploading, I can click abort, and you see it's aborted. Okay. So let's see if the file will be uploaded once I do this. Then I'm going to delete all files in here. Let's see that. So I'll refresh, browse again. Let's do that. So as it is uploading, I abort. Let's check in the uploads folder. Nothing. So you see, it can abort like that. So good. But let's also put a file name here. I guess we can do that. The file name is already there. So when we have multiple of these, that's when we probably need to know which file is where. So now let's go ahead and put several of these so we can do our thing. I want to add a margin right here. So I'll say margin 10 pixels. That way it's not too close to everything else. All right. So what I want to do now is to upload multiple files. So let's see the preparation. Now, first thing is that we'll need many progress bars, of course, and currently we only have one. So we need, the problem is we won't know how many files the user will select, right? Let's see here what happens if I just select more than one file. If I select two of them and do that, this is what you see. It's going to show the progress of both files, I guess. No, actually it's showing, yeah, it is the progress of both files, but I want individual progress bars here. So what we're going to do is change the code a little bit. So first of all, let's create a div that will house many of these panels, right? So what I'll do is I'll put a div like that, cut, and then duplicate, put this one inside. Let's give it a class and we'll say progress bars. Okay, so we can grab that and recreate these. So we want to create a div and then append many divs to this thing as we go. Okay, so what we'll do is here we're sending one file. Sorry, so we'll change this to not send just one file but all files. So this dot files is what we'll send, and then here it's files now. Okay, so once we get here, we need to make a loop so that we can create several of these. So I'm just going to do loop. So we'll use a for loop here and say files like that. So one file, we'll say let file is equal to the current file right now. And then let me close this with that, push everything over inside from here, from that point, and let's remove this one. Okay, so now we are looping through and grabbing one file and appending it and then sending. Okay, so let's see just by looping what we have done, if this is going to actually work for us. Oh yeah, what was happening here in the first place when we were uploading? We were just uploading one file because we were selecting only one file. This time we are selecting two files. Even though we selected two files there, we were just sending one file from here. So now we want to send two of them. So all of them that we send. So if I click, it still looks like everything is working fine, but no individual progress bars there still. So what we will do is, how do we change this? Okay. At this point here, where is this? Right here. I want to grab this item and then remove these guys. So I'm going to remove these so it's empty to start with, then add as many as I need for every time I loop through here. So let me grab this item there. So I'm going to say var prog. In fact, we can do this from outside here. We don't need to do it within the loop. We can just do it once here. Prog container is equal to document.querySelector, and let's grab that. Oops, that item called dot progress bars. So that's the progress bar holder. Then let's create a div inside it. So let's say let div is equal to document dot create element. So we want to create a div. Like that. So we create a div that we're going to put in here. And then all we need to do is say progress container dot append child and then put that div in there. But let's put some content inside that div. So here I'm just going to say div dot inner HTML is going to be equal to, let's use the backticks so that we don't worry about quotes. And there we go. And multi-line issues. So let's do this. Let me move these guys over like that. Okay. So there we go. We have that happening. We add as many as we need. And then, let's see, in HTML. Okay, so I want to replace this div. This is the div container. I don't want to add more divs here. But I think even this is fine. We can do this still. So let's try this. Let me refresh, browse, and let me select two files. All right, so I still see one, which is not cool. So what's happening? Oh, this is being done outside the loop. So sorry, we have to do this within the loop. So let me grab that right here. Okay, cool. So we do that within the loop. Let me browse, open, and there we go. So we have two of them, but unfortunately only this one is showing something, right? So what I want to do is have content here, like the file name and all that. So I want to add an extra div here. So let me replace this with this one. So what I'll do here is I'll say div dot set attribute. So I want to remove this one and replace it with this very div. So I want to set this styles attribute, which is this one right here. So I want to remove these, and then here how you set an attribute, you name the attribute, which is style in this case, and then I'll use the backticks and put my content. I didn't need to use the backticks. I can use just normal quotes. There we go. And then the inner HTML should be this right here. So let me remove that and this here because we've replaced it with the main div. So let me show you that we haven't changed much here that you will notice. Let me try this again. See, it still looks the same. Okay, so let's refresh. Let's get back. Now what I want is to add these buttons on there by themselves. So I'm just going to add an element to this. So I'll grab this and do this. Oops, sorry about that. Because I want to add something before the button. So that's why I'm doing this. So what I'll do is I'll say here again, div.append div.inner HTML. Then here I want to add to what's already existing. So I'll put the quotes, put that button there like so. Okay, so I've just I've added to this text like that. Now the beauty of doing it this way is because I can add something else before the button. So here I want to add a div instead. So I'll say div, and then there's no on-click listener for that div. I just want to display the file name. So I'm just going to say file like that and space. And then remember that we have the file in here. It's let file is equal to that. So let's move this to the first section here. So it already exists by the time we get here. And I'm just going to say file.name. Let's make sure it knows this is a variable by shift $, like that. So make it like this. Okay, good. So let's see what that has done. So if I click and select two files, you see that now we have two files and each one is like that, but we don't have the progress for its combined progress. So we need individual progress. Now the real problem here we're having is this. In the progress bar here, let me remove that. Let's just put upload complete for now. In the progress bar here, you see this function here. This function runs long after this function has completed. You see this main function fires first, right? And then we add an event listener. So we're just listening for a specific event. This event can happen later after this function has already completed running. So that's what happens. This function will run up to the end here and complete, but the event listeners will remain and these functions will remain. Whenever, even if it takes 2 minutes later, whenever this ready state changes, this function will still fire in the background. The only problem is, once it fires like that, we have lost all the variables that are here because this main function has completed running already. So if I am here to say something like progress bar, whatever value I had added here, I want to access it here, I won't be able to do so. Let me show you that. Let's say here I make a variable called, I say let my var is equal to hey, like that. Okay, my var is equal to hey, and then I go inside this progress bar and then just want to do a console.log, right, or an alert, just an alert like this, alert my var during the progress of uploading, right? Or let's use console.log so that we don't disturb our. So in the console, I want to alert this my var. So I'm just telling you that this, it won't know what this is, even though I have declared it here, because this function runs long after this main function has completed running. So these are the problems that we are going to face. So let me inspect the element, get the console, and let's see what we'll get. So I'm just going to grab one file here. Okay, so there it says hey. It actually knows what that variable is. Interesting. Oh, wow, I didn't know that it would do that. Okay, so if that's the case, then okay, I guess that makes things easier. So what we would do is this. We want a library of what progress bars we've created here. This is weird. I didn't think this would work actually, so I'm surprised. But let's come down here. Let's create a var progs like that. So these progress bars are going to be equal to an empty object like this. Okay, so what am I doing here? Okay, maybe we might not need that. What I want is to grab a prog bar to make these guys unique, because prog bar is only one class here, which we are grabbing from here. We are getting prog bar. Oh yeah, this is where the issue is now. So we need to know which progress bar to target for every time we are within here. So we need to know which event is running at this time here. So let me just change the code here, so bear with me. The same way we put a file name here, at this point we know specifically which Ajax object we are dealing with. We can name it I, whatever this number is at the time while we are looping. So let me grab here where it says prog bar. Let me just add I like this, so that it becomes prog bar 0, prog bar 1, prog bar 2, and so on, so that these guys are unique every time. And then I just need to know which one of these is firing at that time. So instead of just saying my var here, I want to put a label on this event itself, the upload that's being uploaded here. So I'm just going to say ajax.upload dot, I'll call this one my index, so that we know it's special. We created it ourselves. So I'll put I there, which is whatever number we're at within this loop. So I'm tagging this Ajax upload object. That way, when I grab the event, it will have this variable in there. So I can just check which one is this, and then upload the update the appropriate progress bar, which has that number down there. So even when we are searching for the progress bar, we need to add the index here. So I'll just call it index there, so that we grab the specific one. And so to get that index, I'm just going to say let index is going to be equal to e.target. So the current thing here, dot the target, it's going to have this my index inside it, because we've created it by doing that there. Because this ajax.upload is just an ordinary object, so you can add items to it or extra data. So that's the index, then let's follow it, and then yeah, that should do the job. So let's see here if that will work. Okay, so apparently not. Doesn't seem to be working at all. Upload complete. Okay, so why didn't it work? So let's grab, let me see if there are any errors down here. There are none, so which means everything was okay. So why didn't this work? Prog bar I. Okay, so first of all, I want to see if these progress bars are tagged accordingly. So there's prog bar 0, that's correct. Let's go to the next one. It has prog bar, where is that div? Prog bar 1. Okay, so that tagging is correct. But the problem is it can't find these guys. So I guess e.target is not a real thing here. So let's do a console.log very quickly to check what value that is. So all we are doing here is just trying to identify which item is which. That's all. So let me open that. Okay, so it shows that this is a 0. Abort. Let's browse again. Let me get 2 of these. So there's a 0 and a 1. Oh, there's just 1 now. Okay. Oh, I see what's happening. Ajax upload at this point. Wait. The number is changing for all of them. One mistake have I made? There's another one called original target. Maybe let's do that. Now, by the way, if you're wondering where I get all these, just do a console.log like this, and then log the E like that, and they need to show you what everything that's contained within it. So there's target, there's original target, you can see some other things in there. So what I can do here is just say, let me load a small file so that we can see that console.log. So go to this and do that. Okay, so this is what is logged in the E. So as you can see, it's got original target, it's got current target. So let's see which one has my index, and this one does have my index in the original target. Even target does have my index, so you can try any of these to see which one will work. So let's try this now. I'll browse again and grab these. Okay, still not working. Okay, let's go all the way. Let's make these Ajax objects separate as well. So upload my index. This should have worked. Yeah, this should have worked here. But maybe because we are using one Ajax object, who knows? Maybe that's the problem. So what I would do is, let me create an Ajax object here, an object that contains many of these Ajax. Okay, there's this one here. Okay, let me grab that. Oh, I see what's happening. It's because this is outside. So it's always the same one. So I'll just do this. And then within the loop, we create a new Ajax object like that. Now I want to add it to this. So I'm just going to say, since Ajax is already defined, I'll say that. So I'm adding to this. So every time we create a new object, we are adding. And then here, I want to empty it first, so that every time we run a new upload, we empty it first, and then we add one item to it so that they are all separate like that. And so every time we refer to Ajax, we have to refer to a very specific one. So let me do this here. And that, and that, and that as well. Okay, cool. And then this one, let's replace the ones that are inside with e.target instead. So say e.target, like so. Okay, so that it defines the specific one that we are looking for, because Ajax in here is sketchy, because this function runs long after this other main function has stopped. So I don't want to have those problems there. So hopefully you're not too confused at this point with all this moving around, but let's test it. So let's see what happens here. Okay, this is good. So now you can see the numbers are moving at a different pace here. This one is done, and then this one is still uploading, but we're not seeing the progress bar. So why is that? The blue thingy. Okay, so it's working now. The only problem is we're not seeing our blue bar move. Why is that? So prog is equal to that. This is working. Why isn't this one? Oh, because the class is different now. I see. So what we would do here is let's just put two classes, prog bar with a number, and then let's do prog bar without a number like this, so that we maintain our classes there. That way we can see that blue. So click. Let me upload now 4 files. Let's see what happens. And there we go. Look at that. Very cool. Now, if I click abort, it's going to abort everything, I guess. Oh, no, that's because we'll just get an error, I guess, because it doesn't know what ajax.abort is. But there we go. So at least we are uploading several files. You can decorate them as you please. Now, in order to know which console was clicked, let's create an array called console. We're going to say console is equal to empty, like that, and then do this. here and say console is equal to empty again. So every time every time we run this function, we empty console. And then when you click the console button here, because the console button goes to the console function, now we need to tell it which of these we are canceling. So let's put that I there for identification. So we'll call it index. And so all we need to do is add to the console.push. So we want to add to the console array whatever this index is. Let's put it there like so. Okay, and then during our progress we can just check the console array. If our index, this very index, exists in there, then we abort this operation right here. So remember that each Ajax is inside the Ajax object, so we can access it using the I, which is that index right there. So here we just say check for console, and then we'll say if console dot includes our index. So if our index is in that, then let's just check the Ajax object and use our very own index and say dot abort, like that. Okay, cool. So this one just adds our index to the console object, and then during that progress, before it progresses, it will just check if it exists and then cancel it. So let's refresh, browse here, and let's go down here and try this again. So as this progress is going, this one is moving faster. Let's try and abort it. Okay, so it didn't work. What happened? Let's look at the error. Console is not a function. Okay, console is a function. So what's happened? Ah, okay, the problem is I've named a function console, and I've also named an object console. Ah, okay, so that's the problem. So here, let me change this to console indexes here. Okay, and let's use that console indexes dot includes index, then do that, and then console index dot push right there. Okay, that was a naming conflict going on. So let's try this again. Click. So while these are uploading, this one is moving. Let's click abort. Okay, another error. What's going on? What is this thing? Console is not a function. Why? Function console. Okay. Console indexes. What is going on? Unclick console. Function console. Let me just name it console item like that. Okay. Just to, maybe the name is special or something, I don't know. Just say console item, right? And then once we run console item, console indices dot push index, and then here console includes index, blah blah blah. Okay, that should work. Let's try this again. Let me just try one item in the board. Okay, it worked. Good. So maybe the word console is special. I don't know. All right. So while we are uploading this one, if I click abort, this one stops. These are still moving. So this one also, I can abort that one. What about this one? I can abort that and abort that one. So working very well. Now, of course, this is not a design tutorial, so these things look terrible. But with this in mind, how do we now receive the files on the other side? So let me check in the uploads folder. We have all this. Let me delete. Okay, so to receive the files on the other side, we have to use a loop instead. Otherwise, here we're just going to receive one item. So here we're going to say if not empty, Actually, as soon as we do this, we just need to run a for loop. So we go through for each, and also here, oh wait, actually this file is called several times. Okay, because we are running separate Ajax requests. So actually this works as it is, no need. That's because we are not sending the files at the same time. We are running several Ajax requests at the same time, so we don't actually need to do anything there. So let me prove this by adding two text files. Okay, so that's done, that's done. Let's check in there, and they're both there. Okay, so this is good. Everything works as intended. So let's do a little bit better styling here. Let me change the prog bar instead of background color. Do we have a border here? Wait a second. This is good enough. Let me just change the font size to okay, so font size is at 12 already. That's cool. Okay, I think this is all. So do your styling here. Style each one of these as you wish so that they look according to what you want. But this is it. Let me show you the code from the top to the bottom. I'll just scroll down here so that you can catch it in case you didn't catch something. So you can pause the video where you need to. Okay, and there is the object, because we jumped around quite a bit, so sorry about that, but hopefully this worked out for you. All right, now before we go, if you happen to want to ignore certain file types, you can check that right here. So file is here, right? And then what you can do is you can create an extension and say extension is equal to file, oops, sorry about that, file.name.split. So let's split that file with a dot, and then let's just get the very last part of it. So use .pop like that. So this extension will just contain the file extension. So we'll say here let, in fact, let's put this at the top here. Let allowed is equal to, so put an array of allowed file types. So you can put JPEG like that, or some are JPG like that, some are PNG, some are MP4, etc, etc. So you can put all the file types that you want here. So once you get to this loop, the extension here, and just check and say if not allowed. So we want to check if the allowed includes our extension. Now sometimes the file extension is capitalized, so we just say to lower case like this. Oh, I needed 2 here, and capital L, and then don't forget the brackets. Okay, so if not in the array, if it's not there, we're going to say continue. We don't say return, because then we'll exit the function. We just want to, because this is a loop, so we just want to ignore this particular item in the loop. But we may want to also put a message out there and say, before we continue, we can say alert file, this file is not valid, something like that. And then you put the file, let's put plus here, and put, remember that we still have the file object dot name like that. Okay, then you can even say only these types are allowed, and you can customize your message like that. So let's see if I try a text document here and see if that will work. So let me refresh this, click browse, let's try a txt file, and this file is not valid. Okay, then it won't work. Now there will be times when you put both here. There's I want to have, let's say text files are not allowed, but MP3 files are. So MP3 like that. Let me refresh. So when I do select these two, one of them will upload, the other one won't. So they say this file is not valid, but the other one did upload, as you can see there. Okay, cool. So that's how you can stop certain file extensions from joining here. Now, if as well you want to do the same on the server side, because someone can change the code here and upload, so you can check for the type here as well. So you say if in array, we're going to do the same thing we did there. The needle is what we are looking for. As you remember, there's type here. Let's say type, and then the haystack is which ones are allowed. Okay, so if in array, then let's move the file. If not, let's just ignore it. So we create the allowed thing and then put it here. Now remember, here it's not the file extensions, no, because people can actually trick you and change the file extension of a file to suit their needs, and so it will be uploaded. But this checks the MIME type, which is more difficult to fake. So here the MIME type for JPEG is like this, and then the MIME type for PNG is PNG. You can Google the MIME types, etc., etc. Video / MP4 and video audio MP3 like this, etc., etc. If you don't know the MIME type of a file, just upload it and try to echo this file type, and it will tell you what file type it is, right? Or you can use the function get MIME type. I think it's there. Yeah, MIME content type, then you put your file name in there. It will tell you what MIME type it is. So if it's one of these, then upload. If it's not, it will be ignored. So let's see, allowed is equal to. So let me just make sure that the allowed files will still upload without a problem. Let me delete the files in the upload folder for a second here. Delete everything, and let's come back and try this again. That file did not upload, the other one did. So good. Let's see now if it was taken in the uploads folder. It was not. So audio / MP3 allowed. If in array, move. Okay, so apparently that didn't work. So if it doesn't work, we can see an alert here to tell us the file MIME type. So let me just echo this. We just say echo file type. Let's see what we get. So I'll refresh. Just load this one, that will be accepted. It's audio MPEG. Sorry about that. So it's not MP3. I think even this one is video MPEG, audio MPEG. So you can always check like that. Just echo it out and see what happens. So let's see if this time it will be uploaded. And let's browse. Upload. Okay, seems like something went wild. Okay, this is what I've never tried. Let me try the first time after I refresh. It works. But if I try again, okay, it works. This doesn't work very well this time. Okay, so I think it's better to clear everything before we. These are things I always forget. The progress container, let's empty it before we do anything else. So I'm just going to say prog container dot inner HTML is equal to empty. Okay, so we just remove everything inside it before we start. So let's try this again. So browse the first time. Let me browse. That worked. Let's try again, the same file. Yeah, it worked again. Let's try again for 2 different files. That one was rejected, this one worked. Okay, so things are working accordingly to plan. Alrighty then. So let me show you the code one more time from the top. There we go. CSS, Ajax. Just pause the video where you need to. Let me move that over. And there we go. Alrighty then.